Good afternoon. My name is Michael Berkhamshaw, and I am so pleased to be here today. And I want to honor all of you new members, veterans to the Path of Honor. And this is something I've been doing for, 15, 16 years, some amount of time. And the Path of Honor is Temecula's Veterans Memorial. And it's here at this beautiful monument we have called Letters Home, which is a beautiful bronze that was done in 2005. Welcome the families and the veterans who are here. And some of the veterans are not with us. So our Path of Honor and our Veterans Memorial is different from any other memorial in the United States of America. The current donation goes to give scholarships to students of the 6 local high schools here in the Temecula-Murrieta area. And since 2007, I have personally given out at least 23 scholarships to these various high schools. But I have personally visited the high schools and invited them to participate. We now have young men and women who have gotten scholarships from us that are majors in the Army or the Marine Corps or the Air Force or lieutenant commanders in the Navy. We've got chaplains, we've got people who are EMTs, we've got all kinds of different jobs that people have been helped by. We do it based on grades, but the grades have got to match your aspirations. That is what you want to accomplish. That's got to fit for me. It's all for the good, and what we're doing is we're doing more than just honoring our veterans. We're honoring our veterans, and we're also helping the youngsters in our community. We are advancing their education. We're just hoping that you do something that's going to be worthwhile, and we want to advance you. So we're here to help, and the Path of Honor does that in so many directions. So I'm really pleased and proud to be a part of that. Now we'll have a presentation of the names and services done by our current inductees and members into the Path of Honor. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. We're going to do it by the service, and we're going to begin with the oldest service, which is the Army. And in that, our first member, and this is by rank in order from highest to lowest, a young man named Darrell Issa, a captain, U.S. Army, 1970 to 1989. He was an EOD armor officer. Frank Ramirez, Sergeant First Class, U.S. Army, 1953-1955. He was in the Korean War. Staff Sergeant James Foreman, U.S. Army, 1969 to 1991. He was in 1st Aviation, BDE. David O'Neill, Sergeant, U.S. Army, 1975 to 1979, 2nd Division Infantry. He was in Korea. John K. Roberts, Spec 5, U.S. Army, 1968 to 1970, 101st Airborne. James D. Vanek, Spec 4, U.S. Army, DMZ, Korea, 1961-64. George Renteria, E4, U.S. Army, 1969-1971, Vietnam War. Moises Shapov, Private First Class, U.S. Army, 1950-1953, the Korean War. Richard Dick Fox, U.S. Army, 1961-1965, Private, forever a Patriot. Then we're going to move on to the United States Navy. At the top of our list is a dear friend of mine, Tim Oliver, a Captain, U.S. Navy, 1969-1995, Silent Service. Brian D. Thompson, Lieutenant Commander, USN, 1996 to 2018, Iwakuni, Japan. Frank Daria, Lieutenant, U.S. Navy, 1958 to 1961, USS Oscilla, AO-56. Dale H. Mowry, Lieutenant JG, U.S. Navy, 1953 to 1961. He was stationed aboard the USS MR Nauman, N-A-W-M-A-N, Destroyer Escort 416. Domingo Rayon, Master Chief Petty Officer, United States Navy, 1961 to 1987, Vietnam veteran. Dennis Santonil, Hospital Corpsman, First Class, U.S. Navy, 1995 to 2015, BMET. Donald Garibay, Bosun Mate, Second Class, U.S. Navy, 1971 to 1976, AOR-1 in Vietnam. Dennis Bridgham, OS-2, Operations Specialist Second Class, and he changed his rate to Radarman Second Class, USN, 1964 to 1986, DD-712/DDG-1. William Martin, Hospital Corpsman Second Class, U.S. Navy, 2000 to 2010, JSCM and JSAM Doc. Doug Hilliker, MM3, that's a machinist mate, U.S. Navy, 1969-1973, Vietnam, 72, DDG-34. Frank Whipple, Radarman Third Class, U.S. Navy, 1966-1970, Vietnam. Stephen H. Dowling, Commissarium Third Class, USN, 1970-1976, AD-17, Vietnam. The United States Marine Corps, beginning with, from the top, Major Gallo Guerrero, USMC, retired, CI HUMINT, DIA. Zach Mathers, Gunnery Sergeant, United States Marine Corps, 2002 to 2022, retired. Tony N. Tran, Staff Sergeant, United States Marine Corps, 2004 to 2013, OEF/OIF Combat Vet. Paul L. Bonavries, Sergeant, United States Marine Corps, 1963-1967, Vietnam. Eric J. Caddy, Sergeant, USMC, 1985 to 1998, Semper Fidelis. Gary Rose, Sergeant, USMC, 1963 to 1967, Vietnam. And last but certainly not least of our Marines is Jacob Benthall, Corporal, United States Marine Corps, 2009 to 13, Camp Pendleton. U.S. Air Force, Cheryl Farr, Senior Master Sergeant, U.S. Air Force, 1983 to 2006. A.W. McLean, Master Sergeant, U.S. Air Force, retired, 1972 to 1993. Joseph R. Trujillo, Technical Sergeant, United States Air Force, 2009 to 2023, OEF and OFS veteran. In the U.S. Coast Guard, we have Michael D. Atkins, PO2, U.S. Coast Guard, 1992 to 2012. From the Merchant Marine, we have Richard H. Porstell, U.S. Coast Guard Engine Cadet, Merchant Marine, 1943 to 1945. And this is the last one, and there's a reason I keep these people for last. This young man was killed in action. His name is Larry F. Lucas, Captain, killed in action. U.S. Army, 1962 to 1966. He was in Laos and Vietnam. My condolences go to the family, and he paid the ultimate price. That's all I have for this year. Look forward to seeing you next year.